7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Discussing everything about the afterlife and spirit world. Coming to you all the way from Ireland, it's Sandie Byrne.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Life After Life with me, Sandie Byrne. Now guys, we've spoke on the podcast before about meditation and I still don't get it. I'm the worst in the world for meditation. You know me, I tend to put on relaxing music and within 3.5 minutes I'm fast asleep. So I'm always on a quest to find out more about meditation, what I'm doing wrong and how it can help. So with that in mind, I have a gentleman joining us all the way from Portland in Oregon in the United States, and he's going to talk to us today about meditation. His name is Jeff Patterson. Jeff, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, it's so nice. And, you know, I was just reading a little bit about you and your approach to meditation, and I was just so interested to find out more. So one thing that I do like to ask the guests, if it's okay with you, Jeff, is a bit about your background, because, you know, whenever anybody's into holistic work or spiritual work, people generally think that we came out of the womb, you know, spouting all of this stuff, which we didn't. The majority of us would have had a fairly normal life for the most part. So would you tell us a bit about your background and how you got into meditation?
Yeah, I was in meditation in a bit of a roundabout way, in that as a fairly young guy, I was around 19 years old. I was very into Western boxing, and I used to go to a boxing gym that wasn't too far down the street here from my academy in Portland, and I met a coach there who was a very well-known coach, and I was really looking forward to get to spend some time with him. And after about 2 or 3 weeks of getting to train with him, he told me that if you want to be really good at boxing, you should start doing meditation and Tai Chi. And at the time, being a 19-year-old kid thinking Tai Chi was for old people in the park, I really didn't understand how it was going to help me. But it's changed my life in many ways. And through the years, I've had over 26,000 students come through my academy, and I've heard hundreds of stories on how the meditative arts has positively influenced people's lives. And that's really what's made me so passionate about trying to get the word out there and writing my last couple books and creating my online programs, and just trying to get people to see that it's not something that, you know, you need to retire to a cave and meditate for the rest of your life to get a lot of benefits from the practice. And so just trying to educate people on that.
Yeah, and that's exactly, you know, why I'm so excited to have you here today, because, you know, it's one thing that I'm always telling people, you know, you don't have to sit in the lotus position chanting for hours in order to meditate. But that said, I'm still probably one of the worst people in the world. Even though I'm a medium and people probably think that I meditate for hours on end, I don't. Okay, for me, meditating might be having a bath, or, you know, even, you know, hoovering the floor or whatever. But you use it in many different ways. Now, I know you talked about the martial arts and the boxing and stuff like that, but you talk about 3 types of meditation: ritual, active, and philosophical. Would you tell us a bit about that, please?
Yeah, so anytime we have a meditation practice in our life, there's different ways that we can integrate some of the practices. And when I talk about the meditative arts, I'm referring to a pretty wide spectrum of different things that are included in a meditation practice, from movement practices, from sitting practices, standing meditations, breath work, philosophical work that we play. There's a lot of different directions you can take it. And within meditation, people will follow different paths. So we have more of kind of the athletic or physical development path to help improve our physical performance. There's the therapeutic side, the medical side, the philosophical side, and also the meditative or spiritual side. And then whichever path you decide to follow, the ways that we cultivate that path and learn to integrate it into our life are through these ritual, active, and philosophical practices. So a ritual practice is where we set a little bit of time aside every day. We shut off the cell phones. There's no audios, no screens in front of us. And we just connect with our true selves and really try to listen and spend some time in some form of meditation, whether it's a movement meditation, a still meditation, some kind of breath work, something where we're trying to increase our awareness and our ability to be in the present moment. Then there's active practices that we can integrate into everything we do. And these are great because you can do them when you're walking down the street or standing in line at the grocery store. And they can be done in as little as 60 seconds or a couple minutes. And they can be as simple as just counting out 10 breaths or maybe doing some spinal rotations or a simple movement practice. And it's just a way to help us stay connected and stay in that present state of mind so we can reap the benefits of a meditation practice. Because, it doesn't really make much sense if we meditate for a half an hour every day and we feel really great when we're meditating, and then the rest of the day we're all stressed out and have all these problems that we're dealing with. And so integrating these active practices help us kind of stay in that mental state through what we're doing. And then the third thing is the philosophical side of the practice. And these practices can be used both in a ritual practice as well as an active practice.
Okay. So there's a lot to take in there. And I think people probably have to rewind and listen back to that because there is a lot. So if I rewind a little bit and go back to 19-year-old you who was sent away to learn how to meditate, where did you begin? Did you go on to whatever, I don't know, did we have online back then, but did you go on to Craigslist or something similar and look for someone to teach meditation? How did you get started?
No, my boxing teacher got me started, and I just kind of followed his guidance for a while and stayed a student with him for quite a while. And then I started really diving into the practice, and I've spent the last 30 years of my life traveling around the world training with meditation teachers all over the planet. Now, I think what you asked is something worth noting, and something I'd like to point out to your listeners is that there's so many resources out there, and there are a lot of good, valuable things that we can learn from YouTube or from an audio program or an app. However, three things that I like new people to understand when they're taking on a meditation practice. And the first one is you have to understand with detail and with a lot of thought and meaning why you're coming to the practice. Is it that you want to improve your health so you can watch your grandkids grow up? Or are you dealing with a stress disorder, having anxiety or panic attacks? Or maybe you want to improve your performance on the field. Whatever that is, you have to understand and really put some thought there, because it doesn't matter who you are, whether it's tomorrow, next week, next month. There's going to be a time where your alarm's going to go off in the morning and it's time to get up and practice, and you're going to want to hit the snooze button and say, I'll do it tomorrow. But if you have a good, strong why and a reason to get up and something that's giving you that energy, you get to the point where meditation's not a chore you have to do every day. It's something you get to do because you see so many benefits from the practice that you get excited about getting up to train. And then the second thing you want to understand is that it's very important to have consistency and discipline with the practice, because meditation is meant to be a way of life and less of a hobby and not something that we do once in a while. And so coming to it with the understanding that I need to do a little bit every day, you'll really get a lot more out of it. And then the third thing, kind of coming back to your question, asking where I learned or how I looked for a path to follow, it's so important to find a guide with the meditative arts, because there's so many different distractions out there that you could literally waste 10, 15 years of your life watching different videos of this method and that method and really never get anywhere past the surface. But if you have a guide that can really help point you in the right direction down whatever path you decide to follow, it could save you years of time. And through the years, I've been running this academy now for over 30 years. I've had many students come in that are self-taught, and some of them have been practicing 15, 20 years, and they'll come in here oftentimes and they'll see somebody who's been following a guide that's only been in a practice for 6 or 12 months that's deeper into their practice, and here they wasted 15 years of their life. And so it's so important to find somebody to help point you in the right direction. It's easy to do. You know, our lifetime is short. You know, your time is valuable. If you think about those three things, you find a good why, you understand the importance of consistency, and you have a guide, you really will get a lot of benefits from your time spent in a meditation practice.
And you know, that first point that you made, that just kind of blew my mind, because I've tried meditating so many times over the years just for the sake of meditating, because I felt I should, or people say you should, and people say, you know, it'll help you get in touch with yourself. And I'm thinking, what am I doing? This is so boring. But it's because I didn't have my own proper why. I was listening to everybody else's why and not my own why. Is that right? Is that kind of what you were getting at?
Yeah, you want to find why it's important to you. You know, there's so many different paths to follow with a meditation practice. If you really resonate with that and have a good meaning, something that drives you, that's what kind of gives you the energy, you know. And a lot of times I'll hear people talk about a practice like meditation or running or whatever that is for them as something they're doing good for themselves. And they'll look at it like it's a chore, like something that they have to do 3 times a week, or they have to do a little bit every day, or whatever it is. And, you know, you want to get out of that mindset and stop thinking about it as something that you have to do, and realize that it's something that we're fortunate and we're lucky and we get to do this thing because it gives us so many benefits if we apply our time and energy there, that, you know, you're almost crazy not to do it. And so mindset, you'll get a lot more value out of your time spent in the practice.
Yeah, I love that. I also love the idea of a meditation academy. Is it just meditation, or do you do like martial arts or Tai Chi or whatever there as well?
So we have 4 adult programs. We have a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu program, a striking program where we do boxing and Muay Thai. We have a JKD and a Eskrima program, and then we have our meditation program where we do a combination of stuff from Tai Chi and Qigong and sitting meditation, standing meditation from each one, and breath work. And so it's a really pretty in-depth program. And then my online programs are all geared around the meditative arts.
Wow. So you can do it online?
Yes, you can do it online. However, again, find somebody who has a program that helps guide you down specific paths. Don't try to just go out to YouTube and watch like one of the million videos out there, because there's so much that can be distracting, you know. And what the problem is, you know, and people look at the next shiny object. Oh, they'll try this one for a little while, and that one, and this one, and then they just start spinning their wheels, and they never really get any depth or have any meaning in their practice, and then they feel like it's not working for them. You know, I've heard so many times that people say, oh, I've tried meditation, but it just didn't work for me. I couldn't quiet my mind. You know, and somewhere along the way, people got this misguided idea that in order to be successful with meditation, you have to reach this state of nirvana. And, you know, it couldn't be further from the truth. You know, the idea is that we want to recognize these imbalances, and when we see them start to veer, we use our posture, we use our breath, we use our movement to help bring us back to focus. And now if you're sitting for a meditation for 20 minutes and you got distracted 50 times, you just got 50 repetitions of being distracted and coming back to center. And if you do that every day, every month, every year, you start to develop this power and this ability to stay focused and be present and approach things with an even mind and not a distracted emotional mind. And you can really reap a lot of benefits from that.
And I know that, you know, I'm just thinking while you're talking here, and I know you talk about using it for the martial arts and all that kind of stuff. But apart from, you know, the focus on, you know, your art, for you personally, what do you think was the biggest, like, was there a bigger health benefit? You know, was there a mental health benefit, physical health? Like, what would be the main thing that you think that you would have got? 30 years is a long time to be practicing something.
I've got many benefits through the years. It's helped with strategy and thinking. It's helped with being more creative. It's helped with my overall health and my ability to stay connected in my body so I can be present. It's helped with conversations and relationships. There's just so many different directions. When you start a meditation practice, you don't realize that there's so many foundational principles in the practice that affect everything you do in life.
And I'm going to ask you a very personal question to me here now. Again, just because other people listening might be in the same boat as I. So for me, I suffer with PTSD, and I've had a lot of anxiety over the years because of it and stuff like that. And I've tried hypnotherapy and different things. Is meditation something that could help someone like me?
Definitely, and I've seen it happen many times over. Many times people will come in here because they're suffering with PTSD or a stress disorder, they have anxiety or panic attacks, and I've seen it over and over again help many different people. And the idea is, though, is again, if you have somebody helping you, show you how to integrate this stuff into your life, because a lot of people think, oh, meditation is good for panic attacks, and then they say, well, when I have a panic attack, I'll go meditate. It's kind of like saying, if I want an apple, I'm going to go plant a seed this morning. You have to build the foundation and increase your awareness and your physical ability and your mind-body connection with a daily practice. And then you start recognizing these imbalances before they get out of hand, and they're a lot easier to control at that point.
Okay. And for somebody, if someone said to you, I don't have time to meditate, what would be your answer to that?
Well, I love the Dalai Lama's quote when that question comes up, and that he says, everybody should meditate for 20 minutes a day. Unless you're too busy, then you should meditate for an hour. And it shows, everybody has the time, and the thing that I've found is a lot of people that say that when they start meditating, they realize that the increased focus and the ability that they have to be more present in their day-to-day activities actually saves them time when they're meditating, because they're more productive in everything they're doing because of the practice.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I need to look at, because when I've tried it, and I know you're going to say that I didn't build the foundation, but I did try it at a couple of different times, but I found because of my anxieties, instead of meditating, I spent the time thinking of all the things that I should be worrying about, and I ended up getting myself more stressed. So I guess that proves your point that you need to have a basis there somewhere. You can't just jump into it when things are chronic. But do you use music? Because I know a lot of people use music or a backing track or something when they meditate. I find that those things crowd my head a lot, and I'm nearly better off with nothing. Whether I'm running, walking, or whatever. I've kind of gone into the point where I just need quiet. What would your advice be to somebody? Would it be to get a track or a guided meditation to start with? Or do you think the silence or the quiet is better?
So oftentimes the meditative arts are referred to as the internal arts. And they're called the internal arts for a reason, in that it's meant to be a time where we look inside and not watch a video or not listen to an audio or music, and really turn our focus inward. Now, when you're doing your ritual practice, I highly recommend not having music or a guided practice. However, sometimes those guided practices or music that can help you in other activities. Maybe there's a relaxing music you like that helps you stay present when you're reading, or whatever it is for you. That's great to use that. Or maybe you're learning a meditation, and some guided meditation will help you memorize the sequence of the practice. Do that for a little while, but then once you memorize it, we need to let those things go so we can really turn inward and get deeper into the practice.
Okay, so they're just like for starters to get you focused. It's not necessarily supposed to be a long-term thing to have the guided meditations. Now, I know that you have a lot of online videos. Are they on your website or on YouTube?
So we have some free content up on the website and on YouTube. I also have an online program that's an actual guided program teaching people the system behind our methodology and how to build a life practice around the meditative arts. If you just, again, kind of follow random videos here and there, you'll get some ideas, but to really get to a deep level of practice, it's nice having an approach and a system to follow.
Of course. And you've published 3 books on meditation, is that right?
2 books on meditation. The 3rd book is on a different topic.
Okay, I beg your pardon. So the Yielding Warrior Method, is that to do with meditation? Is that your most recent book?
Yeah, so the Yielding Warrior is yielding is a really interesting concept, and it's in the meditative and martial arts, and it's something that I've been very passionate about for many years. In my book, The Yielding Warrior, I've broken it down into 3 pillars, if you will. There's physical yielding, mental yielding, and emotional yielding. Physical yielding is the idea that I push you, you push me, whoever's the bigger, stronger person with the most leverage eventually is going to push the other person over. But with yielding, instead of us trying to see who the bigger meathead is, when you push me, I get out of the way of that force, and now I can respond with less effort. So I'm not trying to butt heads with you and see if I'm bigger and stronger than you. Now, it's obvious how this is beneficial in any kind of physical activity or athletic endeavor, because you're always going to come up against other athletes who are bigger and stronger than you are. So understanding how to deal with this and get the advantage on somebody who's stronger than you without butting heads with them is very valuable. Now, in order to be good at this is a lifetime journey. It takes many years to master these skills. However, from day one, by integrating a meditation practice into our lives, we're able to see these things more clearly inside of ourselves. We're able to be more rooted, more relaxed, more present in our bodies. We'll watch our breath. We'll be able to have a more focus in what we're doing. And when we can be more in tune with these things inside of ourselves, we also start to see these things more clearly in other people. And this is where we start moving into what I call mental yielding. Mental yielding is, say, for example, you and I are having a conversation and I see something that unsettles you. I pick up on it right from the beginning. The first sign of imbalance, it's a lot easier at this point to adjust the conversation and keep us in a happy place. But if I'm not paying attention to that, pretty soon I'm so far off track, you want to knock me upside the head. This is leading to problems. And so understanding how to use yielding in all of our interactions is very powerful. One, we're being more considerate, which is something that we could all do more of. And 2, it allows us to be strategic in our interactions and guide conversations to a positive outcome with the least amount of resistance. This is great for relationships, business, for sales, for negotiations. I mean, there's many different ways that we can apply this idea. And then lastly, we have what we call emotional yielding. And emotional yielding is very much like mental yielding, but with our own interpersonal conflicts. So you think about oftentimes something will happen to us and we'll respond and we'll go down this path, and we might get an hour, a day, a week down that road and realize maybe that wasn't the best choice. But with yielding, we're able to step back and be more present and not let our emotions get involved and be a little bit more educated on our responses. And I've been explaining this idea of yielding for many years, and I've heard people over and over say, that makes a lot of sense. In fact, I do yielding all the time. Well, I would agree in that I think everybody does some degree of yielding all the time, but it's kind of like if you or I were to walk into a crime scene with a detective who's been on the job for 30 years, I guarantee you that person would see things about the series of events and the timeline that I know at least I would have no clue of. And the meditative arts helps us see things inside of ourselves and inside of other people that I truly believe most people will go through life and never have any clue of unless they have some kind of practice like this that they do on a regular basis.
That's amazing. I suppose the thing that's popping into my head while you're talking is, do you run meditation retreats?
We don't have retreats. I just have my academy here in Portland, and then my online sessions that I do. And occasionally I'll do workshops, like 1-day workshops. But as far as like week-long retreats, no.
Okay, because I could listen to you for a full week. I don't know, is it the accent or is it the content? But probably a bit of both. But I could definitely listen to you talk about it forever, because I feel like I need this. But I think in today's, and even while you were talking about the yielding thing, I was thinking, this is something that everybody should have to learn before they go on social media, myself included. How to yield. Just hold back for a second, don't respond, just for 5 minutes and let it pass. But I was just thinking, God, wouldn't it be lovely to, if you were just going to get started, just to immerse yourself in something and disconnect from everything for like a week and just get yourself into that headspace. I think that would be amazing. I think I'm going to have to come to Portland for a week and get into it and get started. So now you do have that book, The Yielding Warrior, is your most recent one about the yielding. And your other books, what are the topics of those?
So one is How to Meditate, and it talks about some of the basic philosophies behind meditation and just kind of mindset training. And then the other one is a kind of a side topic for the Martial Arts Academy here. If anybody is interested in the philosophies behind yielding and likes that idea, I'm giving away a free copy of that book right now. If you go to theyieldingwarrior.com/book, just pay for shipping and handling. We'll send you out a free copy.
No, that's amazing, definitely. And I will post the links to all the books and your website and your academy and everything in the show notes attached here. So I guess if somebody was to get started, say somebody like me, should I read the first book first, the one about the different types of meditations and all that? Or do they build on one another or not?
If you wanted to start a meditation practice, the best way to get started would be to check out the online program and start learning how to integrate some of these systems and practices into your day, understanding what ritual's all about and active practices. And then you start to understand the science behind what we're doing, because, oftentimes Qigong is referred to as the science of the breath, because there's literally hundreds of different breathing strategies. And when you understand how to use these strategically, we can do different breathing sets or practices to get different outcomes throughout the day to help bring us back down and make us more settled, to energize us. And this helps us find more balance and have a little bit of control over our physical, mental, and emotional states throughout the day. So understanding how to integrate practices and why you would integrate certain things are very important.
Okay. So guys, I guess to get started, the best thing to do is to go to Jeff's website. Is the website theyieldingwarrior.com? Is that the name of the academy?
Yes, theyieldingwarrior.com. Yes.
Okay. Perfect. And as I say, all the links that you need will be in the show notes attached here. And I'm definitely going to go on and find at least some of those videos and have a listen, because I think it's about time. I'm getting old now. I think I definitely need to think about my mindfulness a little bit more. So Jeff, thank you so much for your time and for coming on and explaining the meditation to us. And I know that a lot of people will be so interested in it. So I would advise you to go and check out the online program on Jeff's website. The links are all attached here. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. And to everybody listening, thank you for listening. And I will catch you in the next episode. And until then, take care and stay safe.
Discussing everything.